Hello everyone. In this presentation, I will explain the historical and thematic context for understanding representations of race in 20th and 21st century England. For this module, I have chosen Agatha Christie and Irenosen Okojie as our representative texts. So let's get started. During the two world wars, the world witnessed a level of death and destruction never before witnessed in human history. Technological advances meant dealing out death was more efficient than ever before. For instance, nuclear bombs decimated the two Japanese cities of Nagasaki and Hiroshima in 1945. Within seconds, anywhere between 129,000 and 226,000 people were killed. Soon after the end of World War II, information regarding the Holocaust atrocities is released to the world. People soon learned that 6 million Jews were executed. To start our discussion of race, we need to define it as the social construct it is. Race is the categorization of human beings based on physical, social, and cultural differences that are viewed as distinct. Distinctions of race fluctuate throughout history, and these distinctions can include more than skin color. Often, societies now and in the past create us versus them distinctions regarding race, resulting in some groups being viewed as sociocultural others. Race in the United Kingdom has been filled with contradictory experiences. While England encouraged migrants to come to England, those same migrants faced discrimination at every level of society. Indeed, discrimination based on race was not illegal until 1965. Moreover, England engaged in imperialistic oppression throughout the world. South Africa, India, and even Hong Kong were 20th century English colonies. Although migrant workers have been vital for the growth of Britain's economy and public services, racism has sometimes been widespread. There was the color bar that prevented colored people obtaining jobs and accommodation, fighting for British boxing titles, or even joining the armed services or serving as officers in them. Some laws were openly racist, too, such as the 1925 Colored Alien Seamen's Order or the 1981 British Nationality Act. In response to those of African, Caribbean, and Asian descent have been forced to find various forms of resistance alongside allies. They organized political actions or demonstrations such as the Greenwich Strike in 1976 and the Black People's Day of Action in 1981 in London. There were various protests against police and racist violence in the 1970s and the 1980s. Although she lives closer to Virginia Woolf's time period, Agatha Christie displays a more contemporary, universal style that transcends the era in which she lived. According to records, Christie is the best-selling writer of all time, with more than 2 billion copies of her work sold. She has only been outsold by the Bible and Shakespeare. Two of her most famous creations include Hercule Poirot and Miss Marple. Some of her most famous works include Murder on the Orient Express, And Then There Were None, which was originally published as 10 Little Indians, and The Mousetrap, a 1952 theatrical adaptation of And Then There Were None that remains one of the most produced plays today. In the short story I have assigned, The Strange Case of Sir Arthur Carmichael, a psychologist investigates the strange behavior of Sir Arthur Carmichael, who seems to be impersonating a house cat. While reading the story, I want you all to pay close attention to the story's representation of the half-Asian Lady Carmichael. The only 21st century writer we'll study this term is Irenosen Okojie. She was born in Nigeria and moved to London when she was 8 years old. While at the London Metropolitan University, Okojie studied communications and visual culture. Later, she worked as a freelance writer, marketing assistant, and editorial assistant. Her debut novel, Butterfly Fish, won a Betty Trask Award. Her short story collection, Speak Gigantular, was shortlisted for the Edgehill Shorty Story Prize, the Jalak Prize, the Saboteur Awards, and nominated for a Shirley Jackson Award. The short story, Animal Parts, from Speak Gigantular, follows the story of a boy with a tail and his mother. While reading this story, I would like you all to keep in mind the following term: internalized racism, which refers to the internalization of society's racist attitudes, usually as a result of wanting to assimilate into the dominant culture. Thank you for watching, and please let me know if you have any questions.